Now, why do you marry? It's just in our nature to desire to have someone by our side. When we are small, we are okay with our parents, then we had friends, but there is a desire for more, both physically, intellectually, emotionally, especially, and it is planned by God. He said it's not good that man should be alone. He needs a mate, somebody that will be by his side. And the first reason why we marry is companionship. But most people have the desire, when you love someone, you want to have a child by that person. Someone that will replicate a bit of the person. And we all want also to share our love on a daily basis. And you can see people that have no children, their sadness, their effort, their desire, they are ready to do anything, even run to the other side of the planet and adopt a child for that reason. But having a child, remember, is not for you. It is fulfilling God's will as Christians, and it's also want to share, leave a legacy of who you are, of what you have, all that you can share with others. You want to share it. Share your love of music, share your knowledge of this and that field. You want to teach farming to your children because you love farming. Anything you love. I have one of my in-laws that was a bone setter, a traditional bone setter in Nigeria, and he was so good at it. He was a miracle worker, and he hoped to give that as a gift to someone after him. And actually, one of his sons has acquired it now. So it must be a joy to the person to see that, So we want children. Now, I want to tell you, it's not because you want children that you may have physically children of your own. For example, I loved children. I really loved children when I was small. I was the first of 7 children, and I always dreamt of having kids. But when I surrendered my life to the Lord when I was 12, I told him, it's okay, I want to serve you fully, full time, and if it means having no children, that's okay, I sacrifice that to you. But God didn't want it that way. He wanted to give me both. But then, when I got married, I told my husband I just wanted lots of kids. I was dreaming of having 12, and I started imagining their names, their first names. I didn't succeed having 12. God gave me 5, and I'm very grateful for those. But God knew my heart, and what He did was to let us have many, many, many children that were loved like foster kids, but the Nigerian way, without the paperwork, without conditions and laws and regulations. So my husband dreamt of that, but his own dream of not having children but educating children. So it was like a peculiar slant to the desire. And so we started welcoming people, but we didn't do it, God brought children to us in a very unique and quirky way, When we were just married, first of all, my husband had taken one of his brother's sons to educate him while he was still single. So that boy was living with him. And then when we married, the boy came and lived with us. But shortly after, there was a girl that came. I didn't know her. She was from the same big town, but she was not from the same village. as my husband. But he taught her in primary school. So she was his pupil, one of his pupils. And when he left the primary school teaching, he told the girl that she should continue, that she was bright, that she should continue studying. So one day she arrived at the house with a little polythene bag and black. I still remember. And she said, "Teacher, I followed your advice. I went to secondary school. I finished secondary school. I took the common entrance to the university. And I got admitted in the Department of Languages here. But I don't know what to do next. I don't have money. My father has no money." So we're just looking at her, I remember. And my husband said, "Oh, okay, if you can live with us and you can use my wife's books and take part in the domestic chores." It went mostly good, it was okay, except once or twice she had moods, but generally speaking it went well. She graduated and we were glad about it. Before that, there was the servant to the girls, the British girls that lived with, that had lots of children, and he asked whether one of his kids could come and help us in the house, and as a thankful gesture for us to lend him our boys' quarter, that's at the annex to the flat. So we agreed, and that girl was part of the house, but at night she went back to her family to sleep. And then people started coming from all angles. First of all our nephews and nieces came at a point. Some stayed longer, some had a shorter stay with us, but they all stayed with us except the first that was already a young adult, and we helped him to open a business selling shoes. Then my husband's cousin children came to the house, several of them, and stayed with us for a while. Then all of a sudden, other people started appearing from nowhere, begging to come and join in the merriment. They were coming not only from my husband's town, but other states, in fact, because we were in another state, Enugu State, and he met people at school that were saying, oh, they wanted to come. There was one family in particular in the north of Igbo land, north of Nsukka, in Enugu Ezike. And these people, 3 or 4 of them came and stayed with us for quite a while. And then there were people from Leja, the town he was teaching at a point. And then there was also someone that was remotely related to him, whose son had just finished secondary school, and he was thinking of putting him in apprenticeship. And my husband said, no, that boy is intelligent, he should try and read for medicine. So he stayed with us 1 year, took the entrance to the university, passed, and then he stayed a year for kind of pre-med, and then after that he moved to Enugu campus. So he was no longer living with us, but we kept staying in touch with him, very, very close. And in fact, we are still very close to him. He's part of our family. And then there were so many others that some of them actually we had forgotten. One contacted us recently and said, do you remember I stayed with you for a while when I was taking pharmacy? And we had nearly forgotten. And I remember also one lady that came from Italy one day. She wanted our son to stay back in Nigeria. He was born in Italy, I think. And they came to ask whether we could take him. But she had peculiar requests. She wanted the son to have a room to himself. And in our house, nobody, even our own children, no one had a room for himself. So it was an impossibility. And then also, he wanted some freedom. And in our house, there was no freedom. It was like a boarding school. Everybody had timetable. There was chores in the morning prayer, morning prayer, evening prayer, and So it didn't come. But we ended up at first having primary school, secondary school, and university kids. Then at a point, it got, in the last years, it became mostly secondary school. And they were all in the same year bracket. So it meant a lot of noise, a lot of enforcing discipline sometimes, a lot of bearing, a lot of noise, and ups and downs, but it was fun. It was fun. But it came with challenges too. How to treat your own children and the others without difference. And this is not easy in a big house. So having children became a blessing to us, and I guess a blessing to others that stayed with us. And we are glad that most of these kids are still Christians. Some we are in touch, some not. But you see, having children is like what they call it, mothering. It's not just birthing children physically, but mothering children. And you can have mothers like that are emotional, spiritual guides to children. Even if you don't have children of your own, you can be a mother, a precious mother, to as many as your heart can welcome.